Hello, 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 and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast. This is a show where we help investors just like you to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a foreclosure deal. But obviously, we got to talk about the flip, because once you buy this incredible deal, or once my system helps you to find that incredible deal, once that deal is properly analyzed, funded by my list of private hard money lenders, you're going to need a contractor crew to get that property fixed up and sold. We're going to talk about how to find the best contractors in your local market to get those deals done and provide the right paperwork to protect you throughout the process. Let's get going. Hello and welcome back to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast, the show where we help investors to find, figure, fund, fix, and flip a deal. Today, we're going to jump right into the fix stage, and I'm going to tell you right out of the gate, not my favorite part of the process. You know, when I got started in flipping way back in 2007, when I did my first deal in Colorado Springs, Colorado, downtown Springs, 439 East Bijou. They say you never forget your first one, and I certainly have not forgotten mine. One of the things that we realized right when we started the project is that my business partner on the deal and I knew very little about the construction process. Now things have changed drastically since then. Here we are 20 years later, nearly. I flipped over 400 houses. I've learned a lot about the construction process, and I've obtained my general contractor license in Colorado and currently working on it in the state of Arizona. But the process to get here was not easy. You know, there's a lot of moving parts of construction, from learning about painting and flooring and cabinets and countertops and tile and plumbing and all the things that go into remodeling a property. It's a lot of moving parts, not for the faint of heart. And obviously it helps quite a bit when you're getting into foreclosure flipping if you have some background in construction, because you'll be able to speak the language a little bit better. Well, I want to jump into our system a little bit, because every time I present the system, I go over each stage that we're going to need to do to get the deal properly flipped. And, you know, one of the stages that we talk about every time is, of course, the fix stage. And I open this setting by telling people that, you know, I'm not a big fan of the construction process. I have the unique benefit of having my wife as my project manager and interior designer on my projects. So somebody was kind of managing the construction while I handled pretty much everything else, locating deals, getting the funding lined up, analyzing the deals properly. But once I had the deal funded, I could hand it over to my wife, Laura, who took over. She's got an incredible eye for design. So between her ability to lead the contractor crew and make the house pretty, we had a pretty good system. However, when it scaled too big, we were doing one or two properties, that model was working just fine. We got to 3 or 4, definitely noticed significant strain on the system. And by the time we were operating 6 to 7 deals, which happened right around 21, we were doing 45. We did 47 flips in that year, but we had 6 or 7 going at any given moment. And it was a lot of work. I mean, just a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff that had to get done. The system started to break down. So what we learned from that stage is how to find the right contractors to do our deals. And I just want to show you just a little bit of the presentation. Now, if you want the full walkthrough on how the foreclosure profit system works, you're going to need to hop on board and schedule a call at foreclosureprofitsystem.com. I'll be happy to walk you through the entire thing, but we're going to do a small subset of it today to get a feel for how we're locating contractors and the process that we need to follow and mindset to get that done. So let's start into the mindset. The mindset is a lot of people come to me with a lack of construction knowledge. And that makes sense. Unless you're in the construction trade, you don't know that much just from gleaning knowledge about construction. You watch these flipping shows, they make it seem very easy and or fun to get a flip done. You know, you've got Chip and Joanna Gaines out there swinging a hammer happily, and, you know, they just seem like it's the greatest job ever. Let me tell you, from someone who's done over 400 flips in my career, there's very little that's actually fun fun about construction. They can definitely frame it that way in a reality TV series designed to entertain people. But I'm not going to kid you, unless you're a little bit weird, you're not going to enjoy the construction process. And even if you're a little bit weird, over time, the physical toll, the mental toll, all the things that go into doing a flip is going to take a toll on you eventually. So the key, like with everything else, is to build the right team around you to support that. Now, I got to caveat this with, when you sign up for the foreclosure profit system, we're doing this heavy lifting for you. We've got proven crews in both the Colorado and Arizona market. So when you step in and start doing a deal, you won't have to do this. But I know a lot of you out there are looking to get started in real estate investing on your own. So I want to help you through the mindset you got to figure out. And your lack of construction knowledge is not really a problem. The other issue is labor and materials are too expensive. And boy, is this the case. Labor has gone up substantially with the cost of living increases, caused largely by the interest rate increases and the cost of living across the board. Food costs more, fuel costs more, heating and cooling costs more. Everything about life is more expensive than it was even just a few years ago. We call that inflation, but it's definitely impacted the construction market significantly. And so that's the mindset of a lot of people coming into flipping, is that I can't find anybody to do these deals cheap enough, and I certainly can't afford the materials for them because they've gone up so much in cost. Both are true, but there are workarounds for both of these things, and we have that with the system. But the first one is my remodeling construction project management team. Now, you need somebody who actually talks to these contractors. So we're going to talk about locating contractors here in just a little bit, but you really need somebody who's going to manage the process of doing those contractors before you start hiring. Because I can tell you this, contractors speak a very unique language. It's very much founded, if you'll forgive the French, in bullshit. And so a lot of people, when they're talking to a contractor, can get talked into things they don't necessarily need to do to the property because the contractor has the design of making more money for themselves on the deal. And please don't think that I'm saying that contractors are bad people. I am saying that they're profiteers. They're opportunists. They're in business for themselves as well. So they have to create a model that's more profitable for them. And if they've got somebody like you who doesn't know that much about construction, they've got the right really to charge more for the construction process because they're solving a unique problem for you. Much like a CPA solves problems in the tax world, right? Your lawyer solves problems in the legal world. Whoever you're hiring, if they're an expert in their field, deserves to charge a premium to some degree. The issue is the retail price of that premium, right? If you're just doing a one-off kitchen remodel, you could easily pay $30,000 in the labor alone. The management could run you 10 to 15 of that, right? There's a lot of work that actually goes into the labor management of a contractor. So you want to make sure that you're getting the right contractor and that there's a communication there that allows you to get the most effective pricing while getting the highest quality and the lowest, the lowest possible price at the same time. So there's a lot of balance, a lot of things you got to work on to make all of that work. So I have formed in the foreclosure profit system a remodeling construction product management team, which consists of two basic components. You have your project manager, who in my case is remote. My product manager, Steve, lives in an RV with his family. He's currently in the Colorado market. I'm actually in Scottsdale, Arizona right now, soaking in the sun rays and dealing with the extremely hot temperatures the last couple of weeks, but that's the nature of summertime in Scottsdale, Arizona, right? So Steve is working remotely, and he has a local person called a project coordinator who is his on-site, boots on ground person who's supposed to be monitoring for quality, providing parts delivery, things of that nature, is going to visit the job site 2 to 3 times a week at set increments. So we're monitoring what's going on while the product management is handled at a remote level. I've tried lots of models. This has been the most successful that I've tried because it gives you the best of both worlds. The time on the product manager is very valuable because they have a heavy amount of knowledge in the construction project management system. Steve's been doing this for a decade. He's done probably hundreds of fix and flips remotely. So his time is valuable and kind of expensive. The project coordinator is also needs to be very talented, but doesn't do a lot of the back end paperwork, negotiations, things of that nature. They're really more along the lines of home inspection. Both of these people are equally important, but the pay model is a little bit different. So you have to structure it with those two people. And the way we have our structure now is of our $5,000 project management fee that we pay to get the work done, we have about 25% of that going to the project coordinator to visit the property a couple times a week and make sure things are happening as they need to be happening. We also have that person picking up parts periodically, so they're like an assistant to the project manager. But their most important role is maintaining the quality control and seeing to it that the work is getting done to the level of quality that we want in the timeline that we want it done. That's very difficult to do with a remote-based project manager who may never interact with the property in person, but they will have to interact with a project coordinator who is interacting with the property in person on a relatively consistent basis. So that's kind of the structure. The next thing that we have is that volume pricing discount of materials. Now, this is important because you have Home Depot has obviously a pricing model where you can pay retail and walk in and say, I want to buy this cabinet, these parts that I need, and you can pay whatever the sticker price is right there on the materials. The issue there is if you're spending enough at Home Depot, there are a ton of options to set up a Pro Extra account, and we are Pro Extra Elite, meaning we have the highest tier of available retail discounts. Well, highest tier before you get to commercial anyway. So there's a whole other discount tier when you're at a full commercial thing. But because we're considered a business, we're getting a large discount at Home Depot. Usually works out to be somewhere between 20 and 30% off of what you would pay to buy that part just buying it off the shelf at Home Depot. Why does Home Depot do this? Well, because they want that larger business and they want the consistency. They don't want to lose money to Lowe's, right? Because the same parts are available at Lowe's. So by getting contractors and flippers, basically us, people who can spend a lot of money at Home Depot, to utilize them more often, they're going to get the larger ticket sales, which equates into more sales. And Home Depot's $1 billion company. It's great to make $80, $90 sales consistently. But if you can make $20,000 sales with consistency, obviously that's better for the company. So they want to offer a substantial discount to people who are spending that much at Home Depot. And so you can set up a Pro Extra account, but at first you're not going to get as high of a discount as you will get that we get because we spend so much through the Home Depot and Lowe's system. We've got commercial pricing at Lowe's as well, but we tend to use Home Depot more often, more force of habit, if you will. They're both pretty unique in different areas. They're expensive in some areas, less expensive in others. So we kind of balance that back and forth. But I would say the majority of our parts purchasing happens at the Home Depot level. So you really want to get that Pro Extra account set up so you can benefit from that discount. I tell my clients that works out to about a $4,000 savings per deal, as opposed to doing the deal just buying the parts off the shelf. So we provide deliverables. While we're finding our contractors, we want to make sure that we give them a scope of work via Matterport tour. And you see this Matterport tour a lot on the show, but I'm going to show you one right now. This is a property we are working on in the Colorado Springs market right now. So you can see here that we get the Matterport tour, and then we can look around the property as if we're standing inside of it. I'm going to maximize my screen here a little bit so you can see a little better. We can look up, look down, and out of the gate, this house isn't so bad, right? It needs some work, some updating for sure. We're going to replace these cabinets. I'd like to remove these top line headers. We want the countertops to go, new appliances, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to paint the walls. Pretty standard. The windows actually look pretty good on this deal. And I've seen this house in person, and I see most of the houses in person. But when I'm traveling in Scottsdale, or I'm somewhere else and my clients are all over the country, this is the best way we have found for the client to interact with the property without having to physically go to the property, which is critical if you're working remotely, as a lot of my system is. So we're going to develop our scope of work, what we're going to do to the property, how many light fixtures we need, how much paint we're going to need, how much tile we need for the bathrooms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to get that all done through the Matterport tour, which gives you the ability to experience the property and be a part of what that remodel is going to take place in without physically being on site. It really makes the game a whole lot easier for you when we have that ability. And I'm not even sure if you guys saw the Matterport tour here. I'm going to drop my sharing here and we'll hop back in because I think you were looking at the same thing. I'm going to add back to stage, and I'm sorry about that. Let's present slides and PDFs. Present. Okay. Image, file, stop screen. Share share screen. Okay, let's do that again. So this is the Matterport tour. I don't think you saw that last time. And again, it allows us to walk around the property in 3D imagery. You can look up and down as if you're in it. This couples with Oculus headsets. So if you're really fancy, you can throw on your Oculus headset and walk to the property as if you're inside of it. It also allows you to measure things. This is the top footprint here. We can throw on the measurement tool. I can tell you the square footage of the rooms. That helps us get the flooring, paint counts, things of that nature, how much square footage we have on each floor, et cetera, et cetera. And heading back inside here, we can just see the property, measure the cabinets if we want. We can know what we're going to put in the bathrooms, et cetera. So we're developing our scope of work via the Matterport tour. So we really got a feel for what we're going to put into it. That helps us get a materials takeoff list where we're going to spend on materials. I'm going to head back over to the presentation. You can see that. So let's remove here. And then, okay. Head back in here. All right. So we have our materials takeoff list, our construction labor estimate. We do a professional home inspection. The goal here is to leave nothing to chance. Okay. A lot of systems out there who would potentially put you in a deal, or wholesalers who would sell you a deal, right? They are simply looking to make their money up front out of the gate. Again, I'm not knocking the model. It has functioned for years. But in the foreclosure profit system, we're really focusing, once we find our contractors, we really want to focus on getting the right homework done so we can present the deal in the best light possible. So we get our rehab budget together, and then we produce a 3D rendering so we have something we can see on the property. So we are now through the deliverables. Now we are going to work with existing trades, but you're maybe wondering, how do we find those trades? Well, honestly, once you have a good planning phase, finding trades is not as difficult. There's a lot of work available out there. And, in markets like Colorado, the trades have tons of work in the spring and summer months. They don't have as much in the fall and winter, so they're looking for people out there. So I find a lot of my trades on Facebook. I go to Facebook groups, etc. It's a great place to meet people. You can go to networking groups, find people who are already doing the work, etc. You can talk to other investors by going to real estate investor meetups, things of that nature. Some of the people are really close to the chest with their contractors. They're not as willing to share their contacts. They don't want to lose those people to other investors, and others are only doing one deal at a time, and they have a good relationship with their contractor. So while they're looking for their next deal, they're actually really happy if the guy finds another deal, because if he keeps them busy, when they find their next deal, the contractor will be appreciative and they can move back and forth. All of this is eliminated, with a foreclosure profit system, because we're able to move contractors actively from one deal to the next. We're not looking for trades all the time. Here in Arizona, we're looking for trades because we're building out our team and our squad here. But down in the Colorado market, we've been working with the same guys in certain cases for several years, others for just about a year. But the commonality is there. Once their pricing and quality is proven, we simply can move them from job to job. So we're not looking for new trades all the time. That's a unique advantage to you as an investor, because if you're just getting started out, you're only going to do one deal at a time. That guy's going to have to find work in between. So you're going to be at a bad spot trying to locate them another deal, or forcing yourself to get into new deals, even if you don't want to, because you got to keep your trades busy. This is one of the many problems that are eliminated by the system, and why I, of course, recommend that you consider joining the foreclosure profit system, because it eliminates the need to find trades. We are doing that for you in real time, all of the time. Right? But if you are going to do this on your own, you're going to want to find your trades from resources that you have around you. You're going to have to pound the pavement, talk to other investors, find flips that are informed. One of my best contractors I found driving around a neighborhood, we were working on another deal and I stopped and chatting with them for a while, just struck up a conversation and asked them if they wanted to go look at some other projects we were working on. That guy did work with me for several years before relocating to a different market. It worked out great. So you're going to find your trades in various sources, but the key is knowing the infrastructure, how you want to set this up. So once you find those trades, you're not at a loss for locating the trades on the next deal. The more deals that you do, the better the discounts you're going to get on the labor, the better discounts you're going to get on the material, so you can grow your business much faster and make more profit because you're cutting your costs. The foreclosure profit system eliminates all that need for you. All you got to do is focus on buying the next deal, then following the direction that the team provides to you. So if you're serious about doing this, it's a no-brainer. Plus, with the discounts, it literally pays for itself after a couple of deals, because we have those labor and materials discounts already. This is just a really smart way for people to get started in real estate investing. So how do you find them? Well, there's various sources out there, but how you structure them is actually more important than how you find them. Proper structure will give you the maximum profitability in the least amount of time and get you the best quality of construction, which is going to allow your property to sell fast for top dollar and put you in a position to buy your next deal quicker so you can keep making money doing fix and flip deals in the foreclosure market. Look, guys, the market's changing. Okay, what we know for certain right now is that there's an increase in the number of deals or number of properties on the market. Inventories continue to climb in most markets. This is largely because interest rates have been high for a while now. Buyers are facing exhaustion. But what we have seen is that nice houses are selling in about half the time it takes to sell a normal retail condition home. So it's a unique advantage for investors. Yes, we're going to be in the market a little bit longer than intended, but the benefit here is we're going to be able to sell in a market where a lot of houses are struggling to sell because nobody wants to buy a house for $350,000 and live in it, spend $50,000 on the remodel at a 6 to 7% interest rate. When rates were low, there was a lot more willingness to take on these little pet projects, right? And that's what drove a lot of the properties up on both the wholesale and the retail side. But today, because there's so much more inventory, there are a ton more deals in the marketplace. The key is you have to have the right construction infrastructure to do these deals and get them done quickly at a high quality so you can sell them quickly and move on to your next deal. Cost of funds rips up a lot of your profit on this deal. Your lender at 10 to 12% interest is making $3,000 a month out of your profit. So the quicker you can get this done, the more money you're going to be able to pocket per deal. But we still find, even with 3 to 4 months of holding time, we're making our clients $25,000 in take-home profit per deal. So if you get into a deal, you're making 25 grand. You can do that 4 times a year with all of our discounts, our agent discount, our construction discounts, etc. Making 25 grand a deal is very easy for us. And sometimes we make a great deal more than that because the market works in our favor, or we can sell the property faster, or a number of things we can work into. Then you can do more volume. That's really the key to the foreclosure profit system, is creating a volume system that instead of taking 20 years to build it like I did, you can start up just like that, start doing as many deals as you want to do based on the amount of funding you have available to put on down payments. You can start doing deals within 30 days of signing up for the program. We will find you a deal, analyze it, figure it, fund it, fix it, and flip it while you keep all the back end profit, allowing you to do as many deals as you want to do and change your life through real estate investing. It's an incredible opportunity for someone looking to get started. I certainly hope you'll reach out and get involved. With that, this is Donnie Corum, your foreclosure deals coach. Thanking you so much for tuning in to the Foreclosure Deals Coach podcast and reminding you now and always, don't buy a house, buy a deal.